round 12. AE86 cart. Definitely more than round 12. I've been working on this thing for a long time, but it's getting super close to being done. We're gonna put some seam sealer. We're gonna put some seam sealer on the seams, make sure they're nice and sealed. Finish tearing it down, paint it, and then untear it down, put a motor in it, or an engine, because that's technically an engine. And got some 1/8 inch plate like I was talking about in my last video. Dante picked it up for me, so he's definitely my bitch. And let's get to it. So I got my black caulk all spread throughout all the seams. When you're spreading black caulk around, be sure to wear gloves, because you know black caulk gets all stuck to your hands and stuff. It pretty much stays. Once you go black, you never go back. That's what I've heard. All this is done on the top side, but not the bottom side. That is done on both sides. I'll get to that on the bottom once I get the car up in the air, back on the lifty-do. So right now I'm prepping it for paint. I've pulled all that stuff out. Just gotta do a couple more welds up here, and you know, scuff it up and throw a little bit of primer on the bare metal sections, and then need to cut those out. I cut those plates out, and I just need to grind them down and then weld them on. Now I finished pulling everything apart. Pulled the steering column and the brake booster and the brake lines and the brake calipers and everything, and then scuffed it all down, and now I'm gonna hit it with some primer, and then we're gonna shoot it with some paint probably tomorrow. Here it is with all the primer on all the bare metal. So now I got my mixing thingy, and I'm gonna mix up some of the Rust-Oleum and some acetone and some hardener, because that's what the Interwebs says to do, and the Interwebs is always right. Here she is, all red with some black right there. And then I got the ECU pulled apart, and I'm going to seal up all these little holes and everything, because that's going in the engine bay area, and I don't want water to get into there and do bad things. Corey helped me get it strapped up on the lift, and I started putting everything back together. I repainted the pedals, repainted the steering column, and also somewhere on here, well, I welded that, and then I also put a little tack weld on this area, because the steering wheel had some play in it before, but it's pretty solid now, so that's good. Fuel system going back in, and while it was apart, I riv knotted everything, and I got a bunch of these stainless button head Allen bolts, so that'll make everything look nice. New hardware for those. I haven't put the little whatever piece back in, just because I'm going to add a little bit of bracing to it, and of course I gotta paint them. And then got the brake calipers in. Got all the lines ran and did the button head Allens for those too. Steering column, obviously. I think I did that. Still need to bolt this in. And now I'm going to lower the car and get the engine and the front subframe and all that stuff in. And got a ton of stuff ahead. The engine, front subframe, transmission, steering column, all that's bolted into place. Here's the radiator line setup. Since I have this stupid 4AG radiator, I had to do the crossovers on the top and bottom rather than just going boom. No big deal. Cleaned up these mounts that I made and mounted up the ECU. This one's just a self-tapper. This one goes into the little prop valve And then this one back here doesn't have anything, and it's kind of just for it to, you know, rest on. And then started putting the wiring in. And then put the dash in. I love these. These are my favorite thing in the fucking world. Aircraft rivets. So put some of those on, put some end caps on the dash, make it look a little bit more complete. I think it did a pretty damn good job. The trans sits really high, so it's touching the trans tunnel. I'm not too happy about that, but it's solid motor mount, so there's not going to be a ton of movement, so that's not the biggest issue in the world. The bash bars, started painting those, going with black on that, which, sneak peek, heh, 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 heh. And then on over here, probably remember these from before, and some cool little gusseting to it. This will make the whole assembly way stronger. So basically, I'm just gonna cut those flush and drop a little TIG weld. Maybe grind the weld just because it'll kind of look better if it's ground, even though it'll probably be a pretty TIG weld anyways. So we'll see about that. And I got a ton of work to do. So I'm not filming a ton, but I'll just keep catching you up on what I'm doing. So I just finished up the header, which is still super hot. My welds on stainless are definitely stepping up. They're still not where I want them to be, but they're getting there. Practice, practice, practice. Painting the cantilever. Ooh, here's the finished cantilever levers. Pivot point, guys. I don't know what they're called. Rear bash bars painted. Let's bring this on over to the front of the car. And I got the front bash bar in place. I think it looks pretty good with the black accents. It definitely gives it like a little bit of contrast, which I like. So now I'm gonna be throwing that thing on, and then I can throw the exhaust on and a million other things. With the header in place and the exhaust in, I was able to measure and get where I needed to put the O2 sensor. Pulled that back out, welded the O2 sensor bung in. All the wiring is finished up now. I finished that up last night. So that's all nice and neat for the most part. That's gonna be mounted in the dash, which I pulled back out so I could put the little plaque on and a couple other little things. Turn signals here. Bop, bop. All of this is fully complete, aside from still waiting for the drive shaft from excessive manufacturing. But we got this. Starts right up. There's a slight issue with the MAF wiring that I need to address. Something with this plug. The MAF just needs to get 12 volts and then it'll be happy. But she is coming together. It is almost done. I say the next video, it's gonna be good. Also, I made this little plate that bolts to the factory e-brake area, I think. And it bolts right in and it holds the sideways fab hydro. And he's gonna be running this with some T3 dual rear caliper brackets and S13 rear brakes. But this little plate is pretty solid. No flex in it whatsoever. So that's cool. So that's all for this video. Stay tuned. Within the next couple of days, I will have the final video of this. It's not gonna leave running and driving. I already know that, simply because we don't have the rear brakes, and without rear brakes, can't drive. So nothing you can really do, nothing I can do. Kind of sucks, but he's gonna be hyped on it. He'll be here in 2 days to check it out, maybe tomorrow. I don't know what day it is. Yeah, he'll be here tomorrow to check it out. So hopefully he's happy, and hopefully you guys like this. And hopefully you guys like this video, because, you know, I built a cool thing. and I'm really happy with it.